Well, let's try this again. Jeff here once again. Follow-up video on the last one, which was the second one I've done. This is the third one now on the Elegoo Neptune 4. Right now you can see it's printing here, and once again the things I did, and because I pulled this out of the corner, I put all the linear rails and everything on it, and then I just, for some reason, just could not get the thing to operate the way I wanted to. So once again, like I said, I put it back, put it in the corner, and I peeled it back out after I found out about this open clipper scenario. If you have a Neptune 4, put open clipper on it. Take the time to do it. It is well worth it. The first thing you got to do is the hardware. I mean, Elegoo is known for their hardware, but you got to get rid of the palm wheels. The palm wheels, they wear out, they wear down, and they can throw off your entire print because they get a little bit of play in it, and then you're wondering, why am I not getting, you know, the prints that I expect. With the linear rails, you don't have to worry about that anywhere near as much, believe me. Now, once again, I've got linear rails. Put them on the Y. The last video I showed you where you can get the kit. Put them on the X. Of course, the Pro already comes with the linear rail on the X, and of course on the Z, I put the linear rails on. Back there, you can see I've got a watt meter, and then I also put new. Can't remember the name of those, but they're for the backlash on the Z. And I put new brass ones on there, and I did all that according to other people's scenarios, trying to get these things to stay tuned in. Now the other thing is also is when you adjust your screws and you do your paper and you go through and you think you got it all set up, and then you go, okay, I'm all good. A couple prints later, go, why is my print not sticking? Well, guess what? With the open Neptune, the open clipper, it has what they call camp on it, and it allows you to, number one, optically now go through a 4-point screw scenario. And believe me, after one print, I've got these screws, they're all zeroed out. Okay, at the end of this print, I can guarantee that these two screws back here, okay, or back here at the front left and the front right, will be out by about 0.07 to 0.09. Okay, that's because of the bed slinging back and forth. So I have to somehow figure out how to. I'm going to have to maybe design something up, print it in TPU, and I don't know if you can see it or not. Probably it's going back and forth so fast, focusing in and out. But between the bottom plate and the screw, put a wedge in there so it'll hold it tighter over the entirety of our print. This print here is an hour and 40 minutes, so that's how long it takes for it to actually poof, go out of whack. Now the beauty about the camp is, and the open clipper is, you can optically adjust. It'll optically take that measurement instead of using paper, and you get bang on. It is awesome. And also the other thing is that it bed levels every single time. So once you do that, you do print, you let it bed level, but only bed levels to the area of the print. So you save, there's time saved there, of course, but you know that every print is going to be, the first layer should go down really, really well. Now the next thing is, and people don't realize this, you gotta clean your build plate, okay? You have to clean it. I mean, you can use isopropanol in between smaller print sizes because you can move them around the plate, okay? But when you have something like this where you have a large area being printed, you gotta take it to a sink, warm dish soap, soapy water, clean it off, dry it off, put it back on the bed, and I can guarantee you you'll be a happy camper doing so. All right, so as you can see, I'm here now in progress. This is once again an hour and 40 print. It has 3 color changes, layered, not actual, you know, like the fancy AMS printers and whatnot. Just colors on layers. So this is the way to go if you want to take, and believe me, this takes your little Elegoo Neptune 4s and Pros to the next level. There's no doubt about it. So is it worth the cost? If you have one of these, absolutely. Okay. There's no use throwing them away. I mean, now when it comes to speed, yeah, these things, they say, you know, with clipper you can go 500 millimeters per second, blah, blah, blah. Horse hooey. Okay. You want quality prints, you're going to have to look. Right now I'm running this at 200, 200. Everything's running at 200. Inner, outer walls, inner fill, all that kind of stuff. And I'm going to slowly tune it in. I'm going to try and go a bit faster, but I don't think to get quality prints, okay, and I'm trying to get the with the open clipper, I'll hopefully be able to get an input shaper hooked up to this thing. I'm still having problems doing it with it. They say you need a mellow fly. This is a fly, so supposedly made by Mellow, I should say. So I'm still having trouble getting this to recognize and get itself, in with the firmware on the MCU. But I will get there. So there are some functionalities I have lost. You will lose your print recovery scenario. Have to keep that in mind. There's a couple of other buttons, printer functions that you will lose, but losing those, but for the gain of everything else, along with the clipper, you can actually take the board if you want and be able to write different macros and different outputs. Right now, I took as you can see here, I took the great big fan off the back. Useless, as far as I'm concerned, for most prints. This is, of course, I'm printing in the Elegoo PLA Plus here, and by the time, it needs ample time to cool. Well, by the time this area here is printed, and then by the time it comes back to it, there's plenty of time for the actual filament to be cooled off for the next layer. So that's the other thing you need to keep in mind as well. So I fully intend on getting some ASA and building the larger cooling system for one head. And I'm definitely going to be doing that and putting the 50-15 fans on it. And it's going to be better for if I have smaller prints where you're trying to go the same speed to cool off. That's where it's probably. But as far as printing with this large an area, what is it, the 4010s, I think they're on here. It's plenty, because once again, the area has time to cool, and of course in this scenario here, there's not lots of overhangs and whatnot as well. So I just thought I'd kind of try and bring you guys up to speed on it. I'll try and do a video on going through the control pad here and then show you. I'm still trying to figure out the OBS, is it, software to run two cameras and then have the screen in the background. So I'll get that figured out one day, and then I'll show you the difference messing around here and messing around at the screen on the computer. Okay, so there it is. She's in operation once again, like I say. And on top of that, I also looked at on this print, just this print here, I put the speeds up to 250, put it in the slicer, and I only gained about 5 minutes on print time. So is it worthwhile going that fast? For 5 minutes, and I don't know what the print quality would be, because right now I want at least decent print quality. So I'm leaving it at 200, and it's printing fast enough for me. I mean, these things aren't speed demons. They're bed slingers, okay? So you got to make sure that your whatever you're printing is adhered to the bed really well. It's not like a Core XY or a Delta printer, where the bed is stationary for the most part. Delta's, the bed is stationary. Okay, so then your part doesn't move whatsoever. Once again, like I explained before. So As you can, so it's and with the linear rails also, um, it's runs it just, you can just hear it. It doesn't don't hear that binding noise when it does a quick, a quick movement and whatnot on the y-axis. So it's that there, and of course, that being said, that okay, your resonance is going to be a lot smoother. The other thing is, I'm in a little shop here that as I turn the heat down at night and then start in the morning with linear rails and whatnot, and the grease is in there. The grease is a little cool. It still kind of wants to. It says, I don't want to work this morning. I got to warm up first. So you also have to keep that in mind and whatnot. So so here I have the little printouts that I put on here so that especially the y-axis, you don't bump it, and the belt tension doesn't go out of skew on you. And so yeah, there are all the supports. Once again, these supports definitely you need the support. Even if you don't put the linear rails on, put on these supports, because that way, if you have the spools up here especially, your z-axis is not going to do this, okay? Not going to flop around, which also causes problems, okay? Even that little bit of flex, I mean, you're talking 0.2 millimeters per layer, or 0.2. Anyway, just that little bit can shift your layers a little bit as it's flexing, especially if you've got heavy, a full spool up there, two of them, you've got two of them up there because you're doing color changes. That can affect your print quality as well. So at the least, put these guys on, because that'll really sturdy up your entire printer. Anyway, just thought I'd do a short one here, and it's really cool now, because now, before with the Elegoo firmware, I couldn't get this to come up. Couldn't get the print to show the print to come up there or on the slicer. It just wouldn't want to come up. So there's and when you're showing the bed, especially now doing it, I looked at the tune on this, the bed mesh, and it was nearly, I mean, it's only out 0.02 of a millimeter. Okay, and that's because if you do on the original Elegoo clipper, you set up your screws and you forget about it. You set up your bed mesh and then you forget about it. And then before you know it, a couple of prints in and all this movement, you don't know whether or not the screws have backed off, okay? And you don't know what your bed mesh is going to be. So with the optical, using the optical for the bed leveling, the optics, you can adjust, make sure your screws are bang on before each print, and it does a bed mesh, and believe me, the bed meshes look so much better, okay? And it's done every time. So your first layers on these things are going to be way better, and that's the biggest thing on a print, is your first layer, making sure it sticks, especially with a bed slinger, once again moving back and forth. So anyway, there you go. Hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and as always, as I say in our trade, keep a cool tool. Okay, bye for now.